and welcome back. It's been a while. Mauritius as a country is currently facing the possibility of being blacklisted by the European Union. Now, this is obviously very concerning for the country as a financial services jurisdiction. Let's listen to what people in the industry have to say about this. We today meet Taroonah Doolub. She is the CEO of Juristax Outsourcing, as well as the head of legal and compliance for the whole group. Let's listen to her views on this whole EU blacklisting issue. Okay, so Taroonah, you are the CEO of Juristax Outsourcing and the Director for Legal and Compliance for the whole group. How do you see Mauritius in terms of its actual compliance to laws? Do you see that there is an issue?
Honestly, over my past years as compliance and legal in the financial sector, I have seen a fair share of clients and business partners always quite impressed by the level of compliance and due diligence that are being exercised in Mauritius by the financial institutions. So it's very shocking to say and to hear that Mauritius has been blacklisted by the EU, while many protagonists from other jurisdictions as well have always been congratulating Mauritius as to the level of due diligence and compliance that we impose on our clients or on our financial institution in Mauritius. We should not be forgetting that we are a transparent jurisdiction. We have always been very cooperative with the OECD to be able to demonstrate, in fact, that Mauritius is not a tax haven. In fact, we have strong regulatory processes and we have always complied with all international standards, be it on transparency or exchange of information.
All right. So you seem to be saying that we are very compliant and we are aware that we have signed a lot of agreements in terms of information sharing. How much is that actually applicable and used?
Okay, so Mauritius has signed in 2013 the Model 1 IG with US to be able to do the FATCA reporting. And ever since we've been exchanging information with US through the Mauritius Revenue Authority. After this, CRS came, Common Reporting Standards came which was introduced by the OECD, requiring all jurisdictions in the world to sign a convention to be able to automatically exchange information with the other jurisdictions about the tax residency, the value of assets that are being held in Mauritius by their own tax resident citizens or by their tax residents. And the CRS, the Common Reporting Standards, Mauritius was one of the early adopters. We signed to apply it and to implement it as from 2017, if I'm not wrong. But then we asked for an extension. We asked to start the implementation as from 2018. And ever since now, every year, all financial institutions in Mauritius is forced to carry out the due diligence exercise to be able to report on all foreigners having financial accounts in Mauritius with the MRA, which will in turn exchange that information with the competent authorities of those other jurisdictions. Which means that ever since we've signed, be it the FATCA or CRS, we've been implementing it every single year. And this is a cumbersome compliance burden on all the financial institutions in Mauritius. And Mauritius has never been reluctant in abiding to them or even signing. We've been the first in doing that always.
I'm a bit confused here because on one side, we are being accused of being a tax haven. We're being accused of not providing information. But it seems that we have passed the laws, and it seems we're not just passed the laws, but we have abided by the laws. What do you think is the reason then we are being put on a blacklist? What's lacking right now?
I'd say officially what has been communicated by the EU is about the deficiencies in our risk-based approach by the supervisors of the financial sector or certain professions in implementing what is called a risk-based approach. That is, what is a risk-based approach is if someone is coming to us to do business, have we analyzed the level of risk that client is to us and is bringing to our jurisdiction. The second one is we've been said that it's difficult in Mauritius to get access to beneficial ownership information. And the third one, which I can recall like now, is that the law enforcement agencies in Mauritius does not know how to conduct investigation. That is, we failed to conduct proper investigation in financial matters. So these are the things that we are being technically reproached of by the EU. The EU has also said that the reason as to why we found ourselves on that list is because they have aligned their listing process with that of the Financial Action Task Force. Even then, it's quite amazing because Mauritius has implemented the big 6 recommendations of the FATF. The FSC Financial Services Commission has amended its FSC code to require all financial institutions regulated by it to implement a risk-based approach. And this even before the EU causes to be blacklisted. So we don't really see as to the why of this blacklisting, though that they have set out a list of deficiencies. And then we should not be forgetting one thing which happened interestingly during confinement is that even if Mauritius was on the grey list of the FATF, the India, SEBI, reaffirmed its trust in Mauritius by allowing the investment entities from Mauritius to be registered as FPI with lower KYC requirements. This is amazing. Like FATF says that we are on the grey list, we're on jurisdictions that we need to be monitored more severely. But then on the other hand, India thinks that we can still be registering our entities with the same or lower KYC requirements.
Right. But Taroonah, you're talking about laws on criminalization. I think one of the criticisms is that, yes, we do have the laws on criminalization, but have anyone actually been criminalized?
Roshan, the laws on criminalization and the offences are fairly new compared to other existing legislation. There have been disqualifications in Mauritius for all those who have not been fit and proper when dealing in the financial sector. So actions have been taken, sanctions have been imposed on certain persons where they've been seeing themselves in situations where they cannot work in the financial sector for the next 5 years of their life or 7 years. So we've got these have been implemented. We just need to give us time to be able to implement these laws. These laws are new, so
okay.
it would come in.
All right. So what I hear is that we are not yet there. So there will be some degree of concern which is founded, but not necessarily for everything. Because how do we compare to other jurisdictions?
Mauritius, what I've heard from clients is clients normally complain about the level of compliance or due diligence that the Mauritian authorities require, be it the banks or the regulators. They will always say, oh, we need to have our documents certified. We need to have a bank reference. So it's not easy to open a bank account in Mauritius if you're not here, even if you're Mauritian, sometimes it's difficult. And it's not always easy also to have a GBL license or to open a domestic.
So it looks like there's been a lot of contradictions, and the way that we are being perceived has changed. Some are still perceiving us how we were when we just started the whole industry some 30 years ago, and some have seen that we have evolved. Have we really evolved as a jurisdiction? Are we offering services? Have we gone up the value chain as people claim? Or are we still just hiding behind tax advantages?
No, we've definitely moved from that. In fact, like 7 or 10 years ago, people would be really coming to Mauritius only to benefit from the tax, I believe, because of the low tax regime that was being offered to them. But with all the pressure that we've been facing over the last 7 years from the OECD, the tax regime has greatly been amended in Mauritius. There has been harmonization. Now, there is no distinction whether you're in the offshore sector or not, whether you're in the global sector or not. The same tax regime applies for any person doing business in Mauritius, whether or not you're a foreigner. So we had to make sure that we become a jurisdiction of choice, but in terms of the substance that Mauritian jurisdiction as a whole can offer, that is the way people can really conduct business in Mauritius, really coming here and relocating their headquarters or their head offices. Because in terms of what level licenses we've got today, we can be said that Mauritius is quite a sophisticated jurisdiction already. We've got the investment funds licenses, we've got the lending licenses, be it peer-to-peer lending licenses. So we are moving at a level to make Mauritius even more a sophisticated jurisdiction, like having all the possible licenses and services. The only thing which I think can be add on is the cryptocurrency. It's maybe the next big step that should be taken.
So, Taroonah, thank you very much for being very candid and open in terms of your language and what you were saying about the whole thing. I do hope that we get out of this as well, and that some reason goes to the right places and some discrepancies get sorted out. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
So that's an interesting perspective of how things are actually happening and what are the implications of this whole EU blacklisting. We will be continuing on this series soon, but until next time, keep safe.